Keep the camera. Very good afternoon, my children. Today we will try to learn what is humanistic therapy and existential therapy. You know, humanistic existential therapies are kept as together for us. These two are together. Now, if you see exact meaning of the word humanistic therapy is what exactly if you see. Existential therapy is a separate area. When you combine both the two, humanistic existential therapies, if you see, they mainly focuses on how the psychological distress is arising, how a client will get affected with the psychological distress. Here basically the feelings of loneliness, alienation, and an inability to find the meaning or the main reasons behind the psychological distress. If you are looking into this area, you'll get clarity here. See, the feelings of loneliness, alienation, and an inability to find the meaning are the main reasons behind the psychological distress. Next point, if you see, human beings are motivated by human beings are motivated by the desire for personal growth and self-actualization. Look into this area. The ultimate goal of human life is personal growth and self-actualization. Now we need to understand these terms actually here. I can say that it is an innate need to grow emotionally. You see, it's a innate means inborn force actually. It is by birth, it is there. It's an innate need to grow emotionally. Whenever these needs are curbed by society, whenever these needs are curbed means society and family is not allowing the child to achieve this self-actualization, that time the individuals will experience the psychological distress. Now you see, you're all familiar with Abraham Maslow's five levels of needs. Basically we say the self-actualization motive or the self-actualization need. Here you see, our life begins with the physiological needs like food and water. Our main focus is basically survival first. Once the survival needs are met, we will think about happiness also. We were able to satisfy, we will go for the esteem needs, and the final is the peak is the self actualization. Now you see, Abraham Maslow is doing the comparison, between self actualization and physiological needs. How the food and water are important for survival. You see, how the food and water are important for survival, like the same way self actualization is important. Maslow is doing the comparison, you see here. How the food and water are important for us to survive, like the same way self actualization is important for us. Now, what exactly the self actualization, you see here it is. He says that it's an inborn force which is moving an individual to become more complex, balanced, and integrated. You see the terms which are used here. You see complex, balanced, and integrated. Integrated is a sense of whole being. Complex and balanced means not being fragmented. You see, an individual is a whole being that is integrated. Complex and balanced are not being fragmented. You see, if you look into this, this is the exact meaning of self-actualization. Okay, there is some main reason, main factor which is contributing to achieve the self-actualization. That is free emotional expression. Free emotional expression is needed. Means to achieve the self-actualization, what is the main thing you need to do? You have to express your emotions freely. Now you see the problem here. You feel it is easy. Yes, we will express our emotions so that we will achieve the self-actualization. Now the big problem is our family, our society, our social system. You see, family and the society will not allow the child to express the emotions freely. You cannot put each and every time your emotions. You cannot question the existing system. So why? Because it is dangerous for the family as well as for the society. In such condition, the child doesn't have the freedom to express the emotions freely, and this lack of free emotional expression, an individual will develop, individual will develop the psychological disturbance. Now, such conditions, such situations mainly makes the child to feel psychologically disturbed. Now, role of the therapist or the process of treatment, you see. Therapist in humanistic therapy also will build the rapport with the client. Once the rapport is built, now the therapist basically see here, therapist will make the client feel safe and secure. The therapist is making the client to feel safe and secure. The client slowly starts believing the therapist. Now the therapist will motivate the client to reconnect with all those disintegrated feelings, emotions which he could not express in his day-to-day life. All these emotions the client will try to express in the presence of the therapist. The therapist will guide these emotions in a safe and secure manner. You see, this is the main technique here. The therapist will use his wisdom, his knowledge to guide the client to express all these emotions in a safe and secure manner. When the client is expressing these emotions in the presence of the therapist, and slowly the therapist will make the client to attain self-actualization. Through this process, the client attain the self-actualization, you see. The ultimate goal of humanistic therapy is achieving self-actualization. Now, the next point, if you see, the fundamental assumption in this therapy is the client has freedom and responsibility. You see, the client is having the freedom and responsibility to control his own behavior. The therapist is role of the therapist is only a facilitator. Therapist is going to act as a facilitator or a guide in humanistic therapy. Now, let's look into logotherapy. See, guys, logotherapy is actually one therapy which is basically a part of the existential therapies. You know, logos, a Greek word which means soul. Logotherapy means treatment of the soul. You see, here it is. Logos means soul. Logotherapy means the treatment for the soul. Now, Viktor Frankl called Viktor Frankl called this process of finding the meaning even in life-threatening circumstances. You see, here it is, guys. Finding the meaning. Logotherapy, if you see, logos exactly a Greek term for soul. Logotherapy means the treatment of the soul. Now, Viktor Frankl called this process of finding the meaning. You see, finding the meaning even in life-threatening circumstances or situations. You see, the main word here it is. Finding the meaning even in life-threatening circumstances or situations. How you are going to find the meaning, you see? What is the main reason here, you see? The process of meaning making we are calling, you see. The basis here is the person's quest for finding the spiritual truth behind one's own existence. You know, you need to understand the purpose behind your own existence. Neurotic anxieties, if you take here, the neurotic anxieties arise The neurotic anxieties arise when the problems of life are attached to physical, psychological, or spiritual aspects of existence. Now you see, neurotic anxieties basically arise when the problems of life are attached to physical, psychological, or spiritual aspects of our existence. Now you see how there is an unconscious in the logotherapy. If you see what actually Frankl says, Freud says there is an unconscious. Like the same way, there is a spiritual unconscious. There is a spiritual unconscious is there, and it is the storehouse of love, aesthetic awareness, and values of life. So you see here it is. The spiritual unconscious is having the love, aesthetic awareness, and values of life. These neurotic anxieties are actually causing the main problem because these are associated to physical, psychological, spiritual aspects. Frankl emphasized the role of spiritual anxieties in leading to meaninglessness. Meaninglessness because we don't have the meaning in life because of due to the spiritual anxieties. Hence, he called them as existential anxiety. This existential anxiety basically it is because your existence is threatened. You see here it is. Viktor Frankl, a Jewish psychiatrist, neurologist, lived in Germany during the Second World War, before the Second World War time. Hitler's rise in Germany, basically the Jewish population was threatened. Their existence was a question mark. So this is the existential anxiety. You see this here, how his own experiences he is giving here, you see. The goal, if you take here, the goal of logotherapy is to help the patients find meaning and responsibility in their life, irrespective of situation. You need to find the meaning in your life, irrespective of situation. And the therapist is emphasizing this unique nature of the patient's life. And the therapist will encourage the client to find the meaning in their life. Finding the meaning. How you can find, feel the responsibility, you will find the meaning in your life. The day when you start feeling the responsibility, you will be able to find the meaning in life. The therapist is going to be open, means therapist will share his or her life experiences with the client, and transference is actively discouraged here. Transference, which is highly promoted in psychodynamic therapy, my children, the transference is totally discouraged here. Therapist reminds the client about the current situations, immediacy of the present. Therapist will always remind the client about the present, not the past. The goal is to facilitate the client to find the meaning in his or her life. This is logotherapy. I hope you understand. Thank you.